The season of Advent means there is something on the horizon, the likes of which we have never seen before. So says Jan Richardson in her book, Night Visions, Searching the Shadows of Advent and Christmas. Advent means there is something coming, that we are expecting something that we do not know. Anticipation and excitement can signify our expectation, or dread and trepidation could foreshadow our expectation instead. We can go either way. But there is also a set of expectations that we can have that sets up ourselves to go down a path we may not want to go down. A path that doesn't feel as good as the expectations we have around Advent and Christmas. I was in the 3rd grade, and my friend Barbara was moving to Highland, Illinois. It was only 30 miles away, but to an 8-year-old, that meant that she was gone forever. I just knew I'd never see her again. So we decided to become pen pals. We would write to each other every day, or so we thought, and keep each other updated on our lives. We did that, and when she moved, she described her new house to me and her room, and I did the same, as she had never been to my house before she moved. So I told her about the bright yellow walls I had and the snowy white curtains and the toys piled in the corner. I never thought she'd see it, so I made it sound wonderful. Well, she did see it one day. She wrote me that she was coming for a visit. I was excited and terrified at the same time. For I had embellished a bit on what my room looked like. See, I slept in the dining room of our little 1-bedroom house with my brother on the other wall sleeping on a divan. My parents had the only bedroom in the house. My bed was a window seat where on a hot summer night I could lay my head on the windowsill and stare up at the sky and see the stars. So when she arrived that day and asked to see my room, I had to tell her, "You're standing in it." These were my bright yellow walls and snowy white curtains and my toys piled in the corner of the dining room. And I was mortified that she had to see this. I know she thought I had my own room. I had carefully misled her in my letters. I never thought she'd actually see the room, but she did. And as I showed her my toys in the corner, she wanted to play. And for her, all was forgotten. And this was my room. But for me, it was a deeper experience. I saw that I needed to own what I had and be proud that I had it. That it wasn't my room she came to see, but me. It didn't matter as much to her as it did to me that I didn't have a bedroom like other little girls I knew or saw on TV. I learned that day about expectations, how I appeared to others, and how I really saw myself inside. When I was 14, we moved, and my father cut the attic in half and created my very own room. I actually got a bed, my very own bed. I was able to decorate it however I wanted, and I was so grateful to have a bed that I was a teenager who made her bed every day. I loved how it looked when it was made, and I'd started to collect pillows and stuffed animals to lay on it. My mother never once ever had to tell me to make my bed. In fact, to this day, I can count on 2 hands how many times in my entire life I have not made my bed. It is what I do in the morning. It is what I gratefully do for myself every day. I don't know what expectations I had as a child. I never really thought about that then. As a young child growing up, I don't think I had any. It wasn't until I began to be influenced by what I saw on TV or at the movies, what I saw my friends have, and what I heard my parents discussing when they would talk about their finances or other families that had more than we did. I was influenced by all of these things, and I wouldn't say I was influenced in exactly a good way. As I grew older, I began to experience that feeling of scarcity, of not having enough, being influenced by the marketing and commercials I saw in our capitalistic culture that seemed to seep into my consciousness and affect not only what I felt about myself, but what I felt about others. It created expectations in me. Expectations that ran the gamut from, I don't have as much, so I must not deserve that, to expectations of resentment that I didn't have what others had, so I must get angry at those who do. It wasn't expectations of anticipation, of enjoyment, of gratitude for what life is and had already given me. No, these expectations that began to grow in me were sown by listening to the resentment my parents voiced for not having enough. Sown by the department stores, grocery stores, restaurants, and specialty stores that insisted on selling me things because I needed them to feel worthy, to feel better than other people. I let in these little seeds of doubting myself and resentment of others to ferment within me and to become depressed. Why didn't I have what others had? Why didn't my parents have what other parents had? Who was to blame for this inequality? I never questioned the idea that there wasn't anyone to blame for what I was feeling. For a long time, I thought it was out of my control. I didn't recognize that I was in control of how I felt about myself. It took a few years of therapy and just living life to discover that I could make myself happy and that actually I was the only one who could. I was in seminary and in class called How People Pray one day, and in our discussion, my bed making entered the conversation. And in speaking about it, I realized that making my bed every morning was a prayer and an expression of gratitude. I've never forgotten what it felt like to not have a bed and a room like I thought everybody else did. I now know I wasn't alone in not having a bed. There are millions of us around the world. What I didn't realize until then was how my expectations dictated how I led my life. I felt badly about myself when I felt I didn't have what others had, and that somehow it reflected on my worth as a human being. We have all felt this way, I'm betting. When I changed my expectations, when I began to be grateful for the experiences I had and the lessons I learned through these experiences, then and only then were my expectations changed. It's not what we have. It's who we are and what we are grateful for. That is the gratitude lesson I've learned over the years. That is the level I've decided to take my expectations to. When I'm feeling deprived or impoverished, I remember that I didn't have a bed. I've had a bed ever since, so what in the world am I not grateful for? Now more than ever, I am grateful for what I have. Now more than ever, I see those who have less than me, And I know what that feels like. And I am even more grateful for what I have. Not for what I want, not for what I can have in the future, not for what I expect to happen, but what I have right now. My prayers happen all day long now, while making my bed, while cooking a meal, while being in my house dry and listening to the beating rain outside. My friend Barbara didn't visit me to see the things I have. She came to visit to see me. Today I am grateful for friendship, for community, for the people in my life that give me cause for gratitude. And I don't set up expectations as much about what I want to see happen or try to change things that are happening in the world to fit my expectations. I look more these days at enjoying what I have right now. Expectations mean different things to different people and to different people at different times. There are moments where anticipation fills me with joy. I am one of those folks that actually love the weeks before Christmas more than the day itself. There is an excitement, a gratification, an anticipation to expectations that brings out the childish wonder we all used to possess as youngsters. I love that part of expectation. Eckhart Tolle, who I've read in the past, has a quote. Most humans are never fully present in the now because unconsciously they believe that the next moment must be more important than this one. But then you miss your whole life, which is never not now. So expectation does not need to rob us from being in the present. It enhances the present when used with gratitude and joy. Expectation does not need to reduce our living in the present. It can enhance it when we include gratitude. The shadow side of expectation is when we attempt to control the outcome, when we forget our gratefulness and appreciation of what we have and expect something to happen that we really don't have control over. Gratitude makes all the difference. We need not seek to compare ourselves to others or what others have. Even Bruce Lee, the actor and martial artist, has a famous line, "I'm not in the world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in the world to live up to mine." I love that. I'm not in the world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in the world to live up to mine. Wise words. We need not compare ourselves to others to determine our worth. We need not have expectations of others to judge their worth, and we can hold our integrity and our self-worth before us and not try to live up to others' expectations. As William Ellery Channing stated that we read earlier, grandeur of character lies wholly in force of soul. What he defined in another way as morals and ethics and how to love. Our integrity lies within the strength of our morals and ethics and how we love. And as you use, within our 7 principles. That can be our guide to expectation. And he went on to say that this was not restricted in the humblest condition of life. So no matter how much money you have, how big a house or a car you have, how much power you have in the world, the least of us can still hold those morals and ethics and love in the highest regard and be as powerful as any other. That is the expectation I can get behind. We hear these proverbs all the time, from William Ellery Channing's words to Bruce Lee. Let us remember them more. Let us remember what we truly have to be grateful for, and to set our expectations with wonder of that which we have never seen before. Have wonder in our expectations, joy in our expectations, peace in our expectations. It's not what you have, it's who you are. It's living our UU principles and being the best human beings we can be. Be grateful. Have a gratitude prayer cross your lips while you're making your bed tomorrow. It's not what you have, it's who you are. May it be so.